Hey everybody, and welcome back to another book review. So I just finished Code Name Verity. It's been on my list for a little bit, and heard it was a good book, and I think they are like in talks to have a movie potentially with Anne Hathaway in it, which is very curious and interesting. So finally got around to reading it by Elizabeth Weir. Um, it's interesting. So, as you guys have heard me say several times, World War II is one of my favorite time periods, which is a little odd. But again, I'm more of a cultural historian, so I like to find out about other aspects of things, not just war and battle. So this book kind of fed a little bit into the information that I usually like to kind of dive into. But it was a lot. It was a lot going on. So the book is about two different girls, and the main crux of the book is, of course, Verity. And you don't really understand kind of what Verity or who Verity is until later. But we have Maddie and Julie, who is also known as Queenie for part of the story. And Julie has been captured by the Gestapo in Orme, France. Fictional place, but she gets captured. Basically, she gets caught on a technicality. And the technicality is she looked the wrong way before crossing the street. Which I just find very interesting that that's how they caught her. But that would be different, of course, because of how things go in Europe versus England. So she gets caught by the Gestapo, and then she is subsequently interrogated and tortured. And so the whole premise of the story is, at least the first part of it, is she is told, to give them the lines of code because she had all these wireless sets that they assumed she was going to use code to send back, and so she was told to give them code. And she somehow convinced them to give her tons of paper, and so she is writing down basically her life story since joining the war effort. And this goes on for a while. And so she's telling the story of her and her best friend, Maddie. And after she finishes her story, then the book switches to Maddie's perspective of like everything that happened during the same time period. And Maddie is also writing, but she is writing it in like a little notebook or journal or something that she has found. And she eventually discovers, well, let me back up. Maddie thinks that Julie is dead. And for all intents and purposes, Julie is under the assumption that Maddie might be dead as well. So the whole time, Maddie's kind of operating on the fact that Julie has probably something has happened to her. And then eventually she finds out that like, oh, she's alive and we're going to try and rescue her. And in the end, they are unable to rescue Julie, and Julie dies in a shootout with the Gestapo, who were transporting some of the prisoners to a concentration camp. But the thing that gets everybody is that Maddie is the one that kills her. And the way it's kind of explained is like there was really no chance to get Julie out from the position that they were in. And the easiest thing to do would be to let her die. But Maddie wanted her to die by friendly fire. And so Maddie's the one that kills her. And that just kind of messes with her a little bit. And then, story kind of wraps up from there. Which is a lot. Like I said, it's a lot going on. But it was also very interesting because I think it was a perspective that we don't hear very often when we read a lot of, different elements of war stories. We tend to hear about the Gestapo, of course, but we hear about the Jewish side. We hear about, people that are mostly living on the home front. So this was a nice story to kind of hear about a female pilot, and then also to hear about a woman that is doing espionage. I am a big fan of espionage stories, so this is really cool to kind of hear that side again. And I also really did enjoy kind of the telling. You later find out that everything Julie is writing is like borderline truth. So there's definitely elements of it, but she uses like all different names and like different locations. And so the Gestapo really doesn't have any extra information other than the name Maddie. And you find that out as Maddie reads her story. When Maddie gets a chance to read her story, Maddie's like, yeah, she's lying. Like, this is not what happened. And so it's just kind of interesting because you really do get sucked in, but you do question some things. It's like, did that happen, or did that happen how you said? And then Maddie kind of confirms yes or no in the later part of the book. So yeah, overall, I liked it because of the espionage piece. I liked it because it's, another angle of the war front that we don't hear a lot about. I give it a 4.5, and the reason I give it a 4.5 is because I wanted more of Maddie. I felt like, I know the whole point of the book was mostly that it was supposed to focus on Julie or Verity, but I felt like Maddie's part was a little bit rushed. Even though Maddie's part was a lot more action to it, I just felt like we were rushing through it. And so I would have liked a little bit more to hers. And yet at the same time, I still felt like, it was pretty solid. It was really well written and everything. So yeah, like I said, overall, I really enjoyed the book. I do give it a 4.5, just because I wanted a little bit more. And it was also, I think, intentionally, but it was also, I wanted to hear more about Maddie's relationship with Julie's brother, and I kind of almost wanted like a section that was from Julie's brother's perspective. So in the book, it talks about, Julie talks about her brother being a pilot, and Maddie goes a little bit deeper into that, in that she meets Julie's brother and they really become very, very good friends. And I just kind of wanted to know kind of his perspective on what was going on, especially because he is supposed to be an injured pilot. So he doesn't have full hands or full toes, or full feet, I should say, because he got shot down and he wound up floating in water, and so they had to amputate some things. But he's still able to continue being a pilot, which I think is a really cool story. So I would just, kind of like to hear a little bit more. I also know or understand that this is a series, or there might be more stories. So I'll be looking into those to see. But like I said, overall, I really did enjoy the book. Love a good World War II novel. But yeah, I wanted a little bit more. So there you have it. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe if you so choose. Thank you so much for watching. Please continue to support myself and Cheshire Stopcat over on his channel. We know we haven't done a whole lot over there, but it's not because we don't have stuff to do. But as you all know, life is changing. It's changing a lot faster than we anticipated. And school just let out for the summer for me, so I am kind of gung-ho to get a lot of things put together and ready for Tiny Human that'll be arriving at the end of the summer. And yeah, so still reading and stuff, but just kind of taking things a little slower, a little differently this year. And so just, stay tuned with us. We're going to continue reading and everything here, and over on his channel as well. just not in the quantities that you're used to. So, but as always, please continue to support both of us. Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you in the next book review. Bye!